I banned my daughter from wearing heels at my sister's wedding because she was already taller than me. When she wore them anyway, I dragged her out in front of everyone and told her she wasn't important or pretty. I canceled her prom, grounded her for a month, and now she's been gone for 3 years. It's Christmas, and I'm completely alone. I told my daughter she wasn't important or pretty. I said those words to her face. In front of 40 people. At my sister's wedding. While my fingers were still wrapped around her arms so tight I left bruises. She was 16 years old. I'm writing this on Christmas Eve. I'm sitting alone in a house that used to be full of noise and laughter and the smell of cookies baking. My daughter isn't here. She hasn't been here for 3 years. She won't answer my calls. She blocked me on everything. The last time I saw her face was in a photo my sister posted online, and even then, I had to look at it from a fake account because my own daughter blocked me there too. I did this. All of it. And I need to tell someone the truth before it eats me alive. My daughter's name is Lily. She was always tall for her age. By the time she was 12, she was already up to my shoulders. By 14, we were eye to eye. By 16, the year everything fell apart, she had maybe half an inch on me. Maybe a full inch. I don't know. I stopped being able to look at her straight on without feeling something twist in my stomach. I know how that sounds. I know how pathetic and petty it is. But I need you to understand where my head was at the time, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if it makes me look like the monster I was. I had always been the tall one. Growing up, that was my thing. I was 5 feet 9 inches by 8th grade, and I own it. I modeled a little in my 20s. Nothing major, just local stuff, but it made me feel special. It made me feel like I had something other women didn't. My height was my identity. My confidence. My power. And then my daughter started catching up to me. I should have been proud. I should have looked at this beautiful, graceful girl and felt joy that she inherited my genes. Instead, I felt threatened. I felt like she was taking something from me. Every inch she grew felt like an inch I was shrinking. I never told anyone this. I never even admitted it to myself. I just started finding small ways to make sure she didn't stand taller than me. I'd buy her flat shoes and tell her heels were inappropriate for her age. I'd slouch a little when we took photos together. I'd make comments about how lanky she was, how she needed to fill out more before she could pull off certain looks. Looking back, I was tearing her down inch by inch. And I told myself I was just being a good mother. My sister Rachel got engaged when Lily was 15. The wedding was planned for the following summer. Lily was asked to be a junior bridesmaid, and she was so excited. She'd never been in a wedding before. She spent months looking at dresses, practicing walking in heels, imagining how beautiful she'd look. The bridesmaid dresses were burgundy, floor-length, elegant. And per my sister's request, all the bridesmaids were supposed to wear heels. Not flats. Heels. It was part of the aesthetic Rachel wanted. When I found out, something snapped in me. Lily in heels would be at least 2 inches taller than me. Maybe 3. She'd tower over me in every photo. Every video. Every memory from that day, I'd be looking up at my own daughter like she was the adult and I was the child. I couldn't let that happen. I went to Rachel first. I asked her, as casually as I could, if Lily could maybe wear flats instead. I made up some excuse about Lily not being steady in heels, about not wanting her to trip during the ceremony. Rachel saw right through me. She's been practicing for months, she said. She's fine. And honestly, Karen, she looks amazing in them. Let her shine. Let her shine. Those words felt like a slap. Like my own sister was choosing my daughter over me. Like everyone was conspiring to make me feel small. I dropped it with Rachel. But I didn't drop it with Lily. The week before the wedding, I sat her down and told her she wasn't allowed to wear heels. I said it was my decision as her mother. I said she wasn't old enough. I said heels would make her look inappropriate and attention-seeking at someone else's wedding. Lily's face crumbled. But Mom, Aunt Rachel said all the bridesmaids have to wear heels. It's the dress code. She specifically told me which ones to get. I don't care what Rachel said. I'm your mother. You'll wear flats or you won't be in the wedding at all. She started crying. She asked me why. She said she didn't understand. She said she'd been looking forward to this for a year. I told her to stop being dramatic. I told her the world didn't revolve around her. I told her she wasn't as special as she thought she was. The look on her face when I said that. I still see it when I close my eyes. It was like watching something inside her break. Like watching the moment she started to realize her own mother didn't want her to shine. She went to her room and didn't come out for hours. I thought I'd won. The day of the wedding, I made sure to check her shoes before we left. Flats. Simple black flats that made her look like she didn't belong with the other bridesmaids, all of whom were wearing the elegant heels Rachel had picked out. Lily's face was blank. She didn't argue. She just got in the car and stared out the window. We got to the venue. Everything was beautiful. Rachel looked stunning. The ceremony was perfect. And for a little while, I felt good. I felt like I was the one in control. Then came the reception. I was talking to some cousins when I noticed Lily across the room. She was standing with the other bridesmaids, laughing at something one of them said. And she was taller than all of them. She changed into heels. I don't know where she got them. Later I found out one of the other bridesmaids had brought an extra pair, and Lily had switched shoes in the bathroom. But in that moment, I didn't care about the how. I just saw red. She defied me. In public. In front of everyone. She'd made me look like a fool, like a mother who couldn't control her own daughter. I marched across that reception hall like I was going to war. Lily saw me coming. Her face went pale. She started to say something, maybe an explanation, maybe an apology, but I didn't let her. I grabbed her arm. Hard. Harder than I'd ever grabbed anyone. What do you think you're doing? I hissed. Mom, please, you're hurting me. You think you can just ignore me? You think you can embarrass me like this? People were starting to stare. The music was still playing but conversations were dying. I could feel eyes on us from every direction, and instead of making me stop, it made me angrier. Now I was the spectacle. Now I was the one being humiliated. You're coming with me. Now. I dragged her toward the exit. She was stumbling in those heels, the ones she'd wanted so badly, and I felt a sick satisfaction watching her struggle. I pulled her through the doors and into the hallway, and I didn't stop until we were outside, in the parking lot, alone. She was crying. Mascara running down her cheeks. Her arm was red where I'd grabbed her. Mom, why are you doing this? I just wanted to match the other bridesmaids. Aunt Rachel said. Aunt Rachel isn't your mother. I am. And I told you no heels. But why? Why does it matter so much? And that's when I said it. The thing I can never take back. I looked at my daughter, my beautiful 16-year-old daughter who just wanted to feel pretty at her aunt's wedding, and I said. Because you're not that important. And you're not that pretty. You think wearing heels is going to change that? You think being tall makes you special? It doesn't. You're nothing special, Lily. The sooner you learn that, the better. The silence after those words. I've never heard anything so loud. Lily stopped crying. She stopped moving. She just stood there, looking at me like she'd never seen me before. Like I was a stranger. Like I was something dangerous. Lily, She pulled her arm out of my grip. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just took 3 steps backward, turned around, and walked toward the venue entrance. Where do you think you're going? She didn't answer. Lily. Get back here. She walked inside and didn't look back. I stood in that parking lot for 10 minutes, shaking with rage, telling myself she was the problem. She was disrespectful. She was entitled. She needed to learn her place. I went back inside and found her sitting with my sister, crying into Rachel's shoulder while Rachel stroked her hair and looked at me like I was a monster. The rest of the wedding was a blur. People whispered. People stared. My mother pulled me aside and asked me what happened, and I told her Lily was being dramatic and defiant. She didn't believe me. I could see it in her eyes. We drove home in silence. The next morning, I grounded Lily for a month. I told her it was for embarrassing me. For defying me. For ruining her aunt's wedding. I told her she'd lost her phone privileges, her computer privileges, everything. And then, because I wanted her to really understand the consequences, I canceled her prom. Prom was 2 months away. She'd already bought a dress. She'd already been asked by a boy she liked. She'd been talking about it for weeks. I called the school and told them she wouldn't be attending. I returned the dress. I told her this was what happened when you didn't respect your mother. Lily didn't fight me. She didn't cry. She just looked at me with those empty eyes and said, okay. That should have scared me. That total surrender. That blankness. But I thought I'd finally won. She turned 18 7 months later. The day after her birthday, I came home from work to find her room empty. Her clothes were gone. Her photos were gone. She left a note on her bed. 3 sentences. I'm going to live with Aunt Rachel. Don't contact me. I'm done. I called Rachel immediately. Screaming. Demanding. Threatening. Rachel's voice was calm. Cold. She's 18. It's her choice. And after what you did to her, Karen, I don't blame her. What I did to her? I'm her mother. No. You were her bully. And now you're going to learn what it feels like to be alone. She hung up. Lily never came home. The first few weeks, I told myself she'd come back. She was being dramatic. She was punishing me. She'd realize how good she had it, how much I'd done for her, and she'd come crawling back with an apology. I waited for the call. The text. The knock on the door. It never came. I called her phone dozens of times. It went straight to voicemail, then eventually to a message saying the number was no longer in service. She changed it. She'd actually changed her number to get away from me. I tried her email. Blocked. I tried her social media. Blocked. I made new accounts, fake profiles, anything to see what she was doing, and one by one, she found them and blocked those too. My own daughter was erasing me from her life like I was a virus she needed to quarantine. I went to Rachel's house once. Just once. I drove 2 hours, knocked on the door, demanded to see my daughter. Lily came to the door. She was taller than I remembered. Or maybe I was just smaller. She looked at me with no anger, no sadness, nothing. Just this calm, cold emptiness that terrified me more than any scream ever could. Go home, Mom. Lily, please, we need to talk. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for what I said. Just come home and we can work this out. No. Lily. You told me I wasn't important. You told me I wasn't pretty. In front of 40 people, at Aunt Rachel's wedding, you humiliated me because you couldn't stand the thought of me being taller than you in photos. She paused. I've had a lot of time to think about it. And I realized that wasn't the first time. You've been making me feel small my whole life. Every comment about my weight, my height, my clothes, my hair. It was never about helping me. It was about making sure I never outshined you. That's not. I'm done, Mom. I'm done trying to shrink myself so you can feel big. I'm done apologizing for existing. And I'm done pretending you were ever the mother I deserved. She closed the door. I stood on that porch for 15 minutes, crying, knocking, begging. Eventually Rachel came out and told me to leave before she called the police. I drove home in a daze. That was 2.5 years ago. The fallout was slow at first, then all at once. My mother called me a month after Lily left. She'd talked to Rachel. She'd heard the full story. For the first time in my life, my mother told me she was ashamed of me. I don't know where I went wrong with you, Karen. But that girl did nothing to deserve what you did to her. She was just a child. She was your child. I tried to defend myself. I tried to explain. But every excuse sounded hollow, even to me. My mother started visiting Rachel more often. She'd post photos on Facebook. Birthday dinners, holiday gatherings, random Tuesday lunches. And there was Lily in every single one, smiling, laughing, looking more alive than I'd seen her in years. She was thriving without me. That hurt more than anything. My friends distanced themselves next. Word spread, the way it always does in families. I became the cautionary tale. The toxic mother. The one who destroyed her relationship with her only daughter over a pair of heels and a bruised ego. Some people confronted me directly. My cousin Angela called me a narcissist to my face. My college roommate sent me a long email about how she always knew something was off about me, and now she understood what. Others just quietly disappeared. Stopped returning calls. Stopped inviting me to things. I'd see photos of gatherings I wasn't told about, parties I wasn't welcome at, and I'd wonder how I'd become the person everyone wanted to avoid. I started therapy 6 months after Lily left. Not because I wanted to. Because my employer suggested it after I had a breakdown at work. I was a liability, they said. I needed to get help or they'd have to let me go. My therapist was a small woman named Drive Reeves. She didn't coddle me. She didn't let me play the victim. She asked me hard questions and made me sit with the answers until I couldn't breathe. Why did your daughter's height threaten you so much? I don't know. Yes, you do. You just don't want to say it. Weeks of that. Months. Slowly, painfully, I started to see myself the way Lily saw me. The way everyone saw me. I wasn't a strict mother. I was a controlling one. I wasn't teaching Lily discipline. I was punishing her for existing too loudly. Every time she grew, every time she succeeded, every time she showed signs of becoming her own person, I found ways to cut her down. The height thing was just the most obvious symptom. The disease was deeper. It was in every backhanded compliment, every impossible standard, every moment I made her feel like she'd never be good enough. I was jealous of my own daughter. I was threatened by her youth, her beauty, her potential. And instead of celebrating her, I spent 16 years trying to make sure she never realized how amazing she was. I succeeded. And then she left and discovered it without me. The first Christmas alone was the hardest. I put up a tree. I bought presents, wrapped them, put them under the tree with Lily's name on them. Like somehow the universe would see my effort and send her back to me. She didn't come. I sat in the living room on Christmas morning, surrounded by gifts no one would open, and I cried until I couldn't breathe. I called her old number out of habit, knowing it wouldn't work, just to hear the disconnection message. Just to hear something. I texted Rachel. Please just tell her I love her. Please just tell her I'm sorry. Rachel's response was brief. She knows. She doesn't care. Leave her alone. The second Christmas, I didn't put up a tree. What was the point? I spent the day in bed, scrolling through Lily's Instagram on my fake account, watching her celebrate with Rachel's family. She was wearing a beautiful dress. She was smiling. She looked happy. She looked free. I commented on the photo from my fake account. Just beautiful. Nothing else. 30 minutes later, I was blocked again. This Christmas, the third one, I didn't even try. I woke up this morning in an empty house. I made coffee I didn't drink. I watched the snow fall through my window and thought about the girl who used to wake me up at 5 a.m., too excited to wait for presents. She's 19 now. A freshman in college? Pre-law, Rachel told my mother, who told me in one of our rare, strained conversations. She's making Dean's List. She has friends. She has a boyfriend. She has a life I know nothing about. I have a storage unit full of gifts I'll never give her. I have a phone full of unsent messages. I have 3 years of apologies she'll never hear. People tell me I should move on. That I should accept it. That some relationships can't be repaired, and the best thing I can do is let her live her life and work on myself. They're probably right. But they don't understand what it's like to know that you had everything, that you held this perfect, precious person in your arms, and you spent 16 years making her feel worthless because you couldn't handle her being more than you. I did this. Not her. Not Rachel. Not anyone else. I grabbed my daughter's arm hard enough to leave bruises because she wanted to wear heels at a wedding. I told her she wasn't important or pretty because I couldn't stand the thought of her being taller than me in photographs. I canceled her prom, took away her phone, grounded her for a month, all because she dared to defy me once. Once. And she'll never defy me again. Because she'll never speak to me again. I used to think being tall was my power. Now I understand what power really is. Power is a 19-year-old girl building a beautiful life without the mother who tried to destroy her. Power is walking away from someone who hurt you and never looking back. Power is refusing to shrink so someone else can feel big. Lily has all the power now. And I'm sitting alone in an empty house on Christmas, learning what it means to be small. If you're reading this and you see yourself in me, if you're the mother who makes little comments, who keeps score, who feels threatened when your daughter shines. Stop. Stop right now. Because I thought I was teaching my daughter her place. I thought I was keeping her humble, keeping her grounded, keeping her in line. All I was doing was pushing her toward the door. And when she finally walked through it, she locked it behind her. I don't know if Lily will ever forgive me. I don't know if I deserve forgiveness. But I know this. She was always important. She was always pretty. She was always special. I was just too broken to see it. And now I have the rest of my life to sit in this silence and understand exactly what I lost. If you're a parent reading this, hear me, your child is not your competition. The moment you start treating them like one, you've already lost them. I learned that lesson too late. Don't make my mistake.